The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests. You're a sensitive snowflake that may get easily offended, turn this off immediately. If you want to hear the real truth about the gun culture, then stick around. This is the Armed Citizen Podcast.
What is going on, my Go Squad? Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast Live. This is episode, ironically, number 200. Episode number 200. Today's date is Tuesday, July 13th, 2021. We are live as always on YouTube. We're also live over on Facebook and on Twitter. So if you're out there, say something. We don't know that you're out there unless you do. If you're new to the channel, new to the show, please let us know you're a virgin and tell us where you're from, and we'll be right over. Other than that, utilize that chat out there. It's a great conversation that goes on out there. And if you got any questions, feel free to ask us or anyone in the chat. If you want to get a question read up on here, go ahead and tag myself or anyone on the panel, and we'll get those questions read if they're relevant. You can super chat if you like. That'll definitely get them read. We don't ask for super chats, nor do we encourage them. But if you do, remember all super chats go to sending care package to our troops downrange. So love to have those as well. If you want to call in, yes, you can call into the show, or you can text into the show on the Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by our good friends at sportsmansguide.com. That phone number, that phone number is, take this over here and let's do this for now. I'm not sure what Clover's doing. He's having issues, but you can text or call into that Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by our good friends over at sportsmansguide.com. That number is 530-364-4678. If you're a veteran or anyone out there, but especially if you're a veteran and you're in that hole and you don't know where the light is, hell, you're starting to question whether there is a light, feel free to call, text, email me 24/7. I can't give you medical advice, but I can be a pretty decent ear to listen to, maybe talk you through some stuff. But if you are looking for someone or something that can get you help and get you towards medical help and all of that, please remember two things. One, you're not alone. There's a lot of brothers and sisters out there that are willing to help you. And two, the world is a much better place with you in it. So please, please, please contact the Veteran Crisis Hotline, 1-800-273-8255. Once again, 1-800-273-8255. That number is scrolling down below. The Veteran Crisis Hotline. We are spotlighting, as always, United States Marine Corps. So if you have any questions or want to find out more info on what it takes to earn the title United States Marine, check out the website marines.com. And as always, we're a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. It's a great place for like-minded people. If you're out there and you like pro-freedom, pro-gun, pro-2A podcasts, go check out selfdefenseradio.net. Now I can get this damn thing off of my ugly mug and bring in our quasi co-host at this point and our good buddy from the great state of Texas, the man, the myth, the legend, the tactical virus. Leprechaun. What's up, Clove? How you doing? Nice patch you got there. I like that.
Yo, I know, right? God, I'm all kind of messed up, dude. But I don't know. I'm here.
It's been one of those things. So we're waiting for our good friend Drew from Mean Arms. He's going to be jumping on here in a minute. They're having issues with computers also. They turned on the old laptop there at the shop to jump in, and all of a sudden, of course, what does it do? Windows update. So he'll be here in a few. But you've had some interesting 48 hours of computer stuff too, haven't you?
Yeah, I was in the middle of kind of polishing up the lawn chair pop sometime early yesterday, before lunch. I don't remember, and it acted a little bit weird. My laptop did, which is a year and a half old or something. Acted a little weird and died. And with my years in IT and experience, I knew it was not anything good the way it acted, and turned out it wasn't. So, yeah, it's pretty much gone, and got another one coming. Maybe Monday it'll be here. I'm hoping.
Yeah. Well, you know, we talk about this. It sucks. Obviously, it could be a lot worse, but yeah, the only good thing that you've got going for you is your wife's computer is exactly the same, so you could take your hard drive out and at least utilize it until. Now she's going to be without a computer, so you'll probably pay for that down the line. But you know,
well, that's why I'm on the phone now, and the avatar's jacked up and everything else. She needed it to do a few things, so I put her hard drive back in. I said, well, I'll just use my phone, and what else am I going to do?
That's right. Quick shout out to Lucy out there. Ricardo says a little something for our troops. Thanks, Lucy. $10 super chat. Appreciate you, brother. If you see people out there that are names are a different color, they've got crayons next to them. You got TJ and Ricardo and some others out there. Those are channel members. So I want to say thank you to all my channel members and to all of my patrons as well, guys. I mean, they know how much I love them. We do have a new one out there. It says, hey, buddy, I'm cannot guarantee that we're going to make you any smarter. We just pray that we don't make you any dumber, but welcome to the dark side. And we'll have a little discussion on firearms, and we'll have a good little time with maybe some other stuff and all that. But as soon as Drew gets here, once he, it's so funny that said, if you got away from Windows XP, it might work better. So,
right.
But we've all been there when we want to do something. We turn the computer on, and it doesn't even give you a chance to log in. It goes straight into that update, and you're screwed at that point. But let's go ahead and real quick say hello to everyone out there. You got Lucy's out there. Once again, thank you, Lucy. TJ's out there. He's a channel member. Appreciate you, brother. Buck's out there. Buck saved my my ass this weekend. He has me cool air of the old vehicle now. So we spent a few hours over at Buck's place. Had a good time, and got a new air compressor put in the old truck. So it's all good. But thanks to Buck for that. Rich White, the 1% is out there. Southpaw RX is out there. What's up? England's out there. What's up, JoJo? 223 DMR. MK Joe's out there. Let's see here. Rod Gates, our good friend Rod Gates. What's up, homie? We need to have you on here pretty soon, too. Wheeled and Well Armed is out there. Pat Walsh, we said hello to Pat. My favorite squid, Keith Gregory's out there. He's not bad for a squid. And WP's out there. Mandatory carry my home. Diggity. Go check out. Actually, I think it's a play on the Volstead Act, but the Date-Slav Act, mandatory carry. We know it's mandatory out there. $5 super chat. Thank you, brother. It says super chats affect algorithms. $1 from Fix. She's watching on her phone. Appreciate you. Let's see here. And Mandatory says you can't chat from a phone. YouTube's app sucks. I don't know. I can. You're chatting right now, so you're chatting on the phone. I don't know. So, but yeah, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate you, brother. So yeah, everything else been good besides the computer going down. We're wasting time right now. We're waiting for Drew. He'll be here any minute now. We're going to go ahead and kind of bullshit a little bit, but yeah, everything else good. Did you find any new guns lately?
Any new what?
Any new guns lately?
No. Well, I mean, yeah, actually I did. I found the Jimenez, right?
Yep.
I was like, oh snap, there's my Jimenez. So then I told you, I don't think I told anybody else, but was cleaning up, found a high standard in a box. I'm like, oh snap, there's one of my high standards. So
now, did you even know
cleaning the other day? We're cleaning the other day, and I find a Marlin Model 60 rifle. Okay, pistols are one thing. I found a Marlin Model 60 rifle. Like, how do you lose, misplace, whatever, a rifle?
Well, when you've got 5 or 6 of those Marlins, you lose track.
Yeah, and to its credit, it is a new model. Like, I don't know, bought it probably That's good Lord, a long time ago now, probably 7 or 8 years ago, at least now. But that's a lot newer model than most of them that I have, way newer. So, but yeah, it's the Academy version for $150, whatever.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's always nice to find guns. It's like finding ammo and finding a $20 bill and a pair of pants that you hadn't worn in a year. And it's like, man, I didn't remember wearing. I haven't worn these pants at the SHOT Show last year. Oh snap! There's $20 in the pocket. Hell yeah!
So you would not believe the amount of ammo I found.
Just random ammo, or
just random, like half a box, quarter box, few rounds here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then once it was all added up, it was like. It was crazy. I mean, it was probably thousands of rounds once it was added up.
I think if I went through my truck and my drawers over here, and then I've got a little cabinet, and just kind of put like the ones that are just out of box, they're just lying around. Right. There's no telling.
Yeah, or in the ammo can, just random, random range bag.
I got a bunch of ammo cans. I've got a bunch of ammo cans over here, and I know that there's about 6 or 7 of them that have probably like 30 or 40 rounds, but they're not enough, and they just jingle a lot. If I would take those and all that, I mean, it's like, okay, there's a couple hundred rounds just sitting there in basically in an empty ammo can.
Yeah,
you gotta love it.
First world problems.
First world problems. That's for damn sure. Well, before we get going, what I want to do is later on in the show, what we're going to do out there is since it is the 200th show, we put the hashtag out there, and Mean Arms, hashtag Mean Arms. We're going to give away something from Mean Arms later on in the show. And probably come up here in about half an hour or so. But go ahead and type in that Mean Arms. That's all you have to do to get registered. We have this cool little nifty tool that we'll go ahead and randomly draw. But you gotta type in that hashtag Mean Arms, and you'll be eligible to win some cool stuff. So when we do that, like I said, you don't have to answer any questions. It's real easy. Just type in that hashtag and you're entered. So we'll do that and do that here about half an hour. Like I said, we're kind of wasting some time with Drew.
I gotta go. I'll be back in about a half hour.
You're right. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Hell, you can type it in there. It's all good,
I can't from this mobile.
Well, that's true. But yeah, that's true. But yeah, you can you don't have to answer a question, so it's not like you have any inside information of what the question is going to be. It's literally the hashtag, and as my wife's in arms. We can kind of go through some of these Twitter polls. If you're up there, you see the on the chat, it says check out our Twitter polls. Put out a couple Twitter polls out there today, and gonna have some fun with them. We can go and talk about those real quick since we're waiting on Drew, waiting on Miss Daisy. Gotta wait on Miss Daisy. It is what it is. But so the first one out there, if you guys haven't voted, if you have voted, whatever. The first one we're going to talk about, I put out there and it said, what's your favorite of the following? And there's some gun companies. I put Sig Sauer, Glock, Smith & Wesson, and Beretta. And right now, Smith & Wesson and Sig are tied at 40%. Glock's at 20%. Beretta didn't get a vote so far, so I'm a little disappointed in that. But, yeah. So everyone out there seems to be... I'm surprised that Smith was up there. I know that I'm a big Smith & Wesson fan, but I know a lot of people aren't necessarily and all of that, but...
You got to realize Smith & Wesson crosses platforms, semi-auto and revolver.
Yep. And ARs. And yeah.
True. Yeah. Yep.
So Born to be a shooter, Josh says, hello, everyone. Hello, Josh. How are you? The next one we went out there, I had a little fun with is the debate. And I'm a little surprised, kind of, sort of, but not really. I said, who would win in a death match in their prime? Bruce Lee or Chuck Norris? Right now, Chuck Norris has 60% of the vote. I'm a little surprised at that.
That's fake news.
Huh?
That's fake news.
I'm a big Bruce Lee fan. I don't dislike Chuck Norris by any means, but I'm a big Bruce Lee fan. And I just assumed that Bruce Lee would get a lot of the votes. But we're also talking about gun people. And now that Chuck Norris is the face of Glock, maybe that he's getting the gun vote now as Chuck Norris is to beat Bruce Lee. I still don't get it. But hey, the people have spoken. And the last one over here, we also put it over on the YouTube side. This is kind of a sports one, so I know you might get a little rash, but that's okay. Talking sports, but I put out there and I said, of the GOATs, the greatest of all time in the respective sport, who was the best? Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, Jim Brown, Babe Ruth, and Tiger Woods. Now, obviously, we're talking about my choices of who I think the GOATs are in the respected sports. I've been getting a lot of hate. Comments down there about my choice for Jim Brown as the greatest of all time and not Tom Brady for football. I'm not a big Tom Brady fan, but he's a quarterback. He's probably the best quarterback out there, but Jim Brown, you can ask like a lot of the Hall of Famers, they'll say that Jim Brown's the best football player that's ever lived. Anyways, but so the polls, 60% are right when they choose Michael Jordan. Babe Ruth comes in at second at 17%. Wayne Gretzky at 15%. Jim Brown at 5%, and Tiger Woods at 3%. So 60%, they're right.
So,
they are definitely right. Yeah.
So let me ask a question off the back of that.
Okay.
So Tiger Woods is really the only current athlete, right?
Well, that's still currently playing well, and he's not even really playing right now.
Well, but you see what I'm saying? Modern,
yes,
right?
Yes, sure.
The only modern athlete. So Tiger Woods aside, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Take any of those other ones. What'd you say? Babe, Gretzky, Jim Brown,
Gretzky, Jordan, and Jim Brown. Yeah.
Put any of those in a modern sports situation, and are they still the greatest of all time? I think Jordan could pull it off. I don't know that any of the other ones could.
Had the line that Emmett did. Jim Brown only played a few years. He didn't play that long in the AFL, and I mean, he was dominant. So Josh says, here we go. We're going to start it. He has 7 rings, and QB is the hardest position by far. If you watch him play, he is the one who finished the game like no other. 7 rings is not just one team. Once again, we can agree to disagree. I will give you that he's probably the most decorated player. He's arguably probably the best quarterback of all time, but I don't see him getting the ball handed off to him 30 times a game and getting killed every time he touches the ball and having to block, having to catch, having to run, all of the things that are running back. I think running back's the toughest position to play. I would say that quarterback is the hardest, maybe mentally, but physically, I think running back by far. That's why their lifespan only is like 4 or 5 years.
So here's the issue that you get into with team sports. Would the GOATs be GOATs if they did not have great supporting players?
Sure, absolutely.
So it's not like they became a GOAT on their own, right? Mm-hmm. Now, Tiger Woods, you could say potentially, I mean, it's not like you've got defense in golf, right? Or it's not a contact sport type thing. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So if you're talking about from that perspective, then Tiger would be the hands down winner because who did he have to rely on, right?
Yeah, he dominated. Dominated by himself, like you said, like no team. So there was a guy that went into this with me on the comment section. It was kind of fun, but he said about Michael Phelps. And Michael Phelps, same kind of thing.
Wow.
Individual,
Yep.
And I told him, I said, this isn't like I have 5 choices I could put on this, or 4 choices I could put on there. I could also bring in the greatest of all time in cricket and probably, whatever. But let's be honest, I think Michael Phelps is a phenomenal athlete. But I'm not going to put in a sport that people don't give a shit about until the Olympics comes around every 4 years into that type. Now, is Michael Phelps worthy of a GOAT? Is he worthy of maybe greatest swimmer of all time? Sure. Is he worthy of one of the greatest Olympic athletes ever? Sure. Ultimately, it came down to, I said, this is my fucking list. You can go make your own. So, but yeah, no, it's one of those things. And I knew this was that's why I put that out there. It's always fun discussion when you get people. There's a reason why sports fans are called fans, which is short for fanatics. So it's always fun. It's always fun. Ric Flair has been mentioned. Okay.
To be the man, you've got to beat the man.
Yeah. Patriot out there. This is what? No Rob Cross, world champion in darts. Now, what's that famous bowler that oh man, the real famous that always did the thing. God, what was his name? The fact that I actually know a bowler's name should make it to where he's on the list.
You talking about the Amish kid? Talking about that Amish kid? Is that who you're talking about?
No, it's like I think it's like Weber, Pete Weber, or something. I think it's like Pete Weber. He's like the most famous bowler ever, and every time he won, he kind of did the old, crotch chop and all that. The fact, like I said, the fact that I actually know a bowler, maybe he should have been on the list, because the fact that I know a bowler means he's probably pretty big time. So now they're talking about. Now this is where you can get it also. Rich says that Jordan played basketball, the most overrated sport there is. Okay, so let's just be real about this. May not like basketball, okay? If you're out there and you don't, I get it. Basketball is a sport that some people love, some people hate. Let's be real. Michael Jordan, think about this. Michael Jordan was 6'6", 220 pounds. And was incredibly fast, could jump literally out of the gym, could shoot, could run, could play defense. You're talking about the guys, LeBron James. I can't stand LeBron James. LeBron James is 6'9", 280 pounds, and can run with any of them. You put LeBron James on a football field, that dude dominates. Let's be real. You put Michael Jordan on the football field his whole life and tell him that he was incredible. So basketball players, for the size they are and the athleticism they are probably the best athletes out there. And pound for pound, obviously there are some basketball players that are not great athletes, but are good basketball players. And there are obviously great athletes everywhere. But I think if you had to pick one, at least of the major sports, that who the best athletes were, man, basketball players are tough to beat, because they are really good. Michael Jordan sucked at baseball. What is wrong with you? No, he didn't. You're talking about a guy. Now, if you know anything about baseball, Rich, I don't know if you do or not. I'm a big baseball guy. But you're talking about a guy that hadn't played baseball since he was 14 years old. 14 years old. 20 years later decides, I'm going to go play baseball. They can't put him at single A or rookie ball. They had to put him at double A, because that's the only stadiums that could handle the press attention and fans that were going to be there to watch Michael Jordan. If you're not they say that Triple A is the best. Actually, it's not. Double A is the most competitive of the minor league systems, because that's where all the major league players, when they're doing their when they're getting healthy, that's where they go, is double A to do their rehab. So you're playing against 3 or 4 MLB guys every night in double A doing rehab. Double A is the toughest division of minor league baseball. Michael Jordan hit over 200 in Double A baseball and hadn't played baseball in 20 years. Now, 200 doesn't sound good. 1 out of every 5 at bats, that dude got a hit against some of the best pitching and best talent in minor league baseball. So to say that he sucked, you're either ignorant or outside your mind. Either one. It doesn't matter why he played baseball. It makes no difference why he plays baseball. That dude hadn't played baseball in 20 plus years, went to AA, and hit over 200. There are guys been playing baseball their entire lives. They actually got drafted and got paid a lot of money from baseball to be there that didn't play as well as he did. Just saying. Just saying. All right, just got a text from Drew. He says, it's not their internet. It's not, just learned it's our internet that's not connecting, so we can't get online. How can we make it up to you? That's an interesting question. How can you make this up to me, Drew? This could get real expensive. I'm just saying. So it doesn't look like Drew's going to be able to make it. Let's see. I'm going to say, can you join on your phone? If nothing else, we can get him on here. And hopefully he can come in. But yeah, Clove, like I said, 200 in the minors isn't good. You're outside your mind, bro. Do you realize that 300 is a Hall of Famer in the major leagues? You're talking about the minor leagues. Yeah, cool. Let's see you go hit 200 right now in the minor leagues. The guy went 1 for 5 on average in a game that he hasn't played in over 20 years. 20 years he hadn't played the game. Once again, either you're ignorant or you just don't know. Like you're just outside your mind. I don't know. It is what it is. But the fact that people say that George sucked at baseball, that dude, okay. You have the right to your own opinion, even though it's wrong. Just saying. Call in. Try to change my mind, Rich. Try to change my mind. Call in. It's all good. Someone try to get here. Snobs out there. If Andrew is not going to be able to make it tonight, then we're just going to have maybe a little fun, and I don't know. We'll still give stuff away. Go ahead and use that hashtag. I'm going to put the hashtag again out there, even though they might not be joining us. Usually utilize the hashtag Mean Arms, and here in a little while we are going to give away some product from Mean Arms, and you don't have to answer a question. You don't have to know trivia. It is what it is. It's not just your opinion. There are numerous sports writers that have said, numerous sports writers. So of the 6,000 sports writers out there, a few of them said that he sucked. They probably never played baseball either. Baseball is hitting a baseball is the hardest thing in sports to do. Hitting a baseball is the hardest thing in sports. That thing's coming at you at anywhere from 90 to 100 miles an hour, and today over 100 miles an hour, and you've got from 60 feet 6 inches. You've got about 0.1 or 0.2 seconds from the time it's released to decide what you're going to do and then hit it. Just saying. But yeah, the few sports writers out there that probably never played baseball, they can tell if someone's good at baseball or not. Whatever. What it is.
Not just if you're going to hit it, but how you're going to hit it.
Yeah. And then you actually have to hit it.
Yeah.
Because, by the way, that thing isn't going in a straight line. It's not just on a tee where you can sit there and say, okay, it's going to be right here. No, that thing moves. So hitting a baseball is the toughest thing in sports to do. That's my opinion. Once again, I might be wrong too, but I'm not. 223 says ESPN said George sucks at baseball. Fuck ESPN. Let's see here. Warsaw says, in the sport of baseball, even one man threw a baseball at an uncommon bird and killed it. He didn't throw the ball at the bird. As Randy Johnson you're talking about. He was making a pitch and the bird happened to fly right. Now, it was crazy. Randy Johnson used to throw it about 95, 96 back in the day when 95, 96 was legit, like hard. But yeah, he was pitching and a bird flew right through when he was pitching and hit it. So hey, I'm telling you, bro, if you get away from Windows XP, you might just do some good.
Man, that was bad. That was bad. That was bad. Yeah, man, we are so sorry.
Who cares? We were just bullshitting right now. We've seen the first half hour bullshit anyway, so it's all good.
Okay, yeah, $15,000 worth of camera equipment, studio, lighting, mic, everything, and we're crippled
and you're using a phone.
Now I'm on my iPhone, so.
This could be a commercial for iPhone, I guess,
It did. It just saved the day. So I literally have my iPhone. It's balancing right now. So if everybody could pray that my phone doesn't fall 6.5 feet to the concrete, we should be good. So I have it sitting on top of the camera. I wish I could take a picture of this.
You need to, like, before you leave tonight, like, have someone take a picture and send that text to me. I want to see this.
Man, this is bad.
Well, guys, we're welcome. First of all, you probably didn't know this, and I didn't realize it until after we scheduled this a couple weeks ago. This is our 200th show, so you actually had to be on number 200. And so part of the number 200, we're going to give some stuff away. We're going to give some Mean Arms Indo mags and stuff away. How about them apples?
I think I can make that happen.
No. I'm going to take care of this. You guys, I'm going to buy them from you guys and just have you guys. Now, what you can do is ship them to them for me. But I'll just order them online from you guys and send them out there. So yeah, be no problem whatsoever. So guys, for out there that don't know, this is our good buddy Drew with Mean Arms. Drew is a really cool guy. You've been busy in the last year, personal life as well.
Everything's on fire.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing, right? Good thing.
Oh yeah.
But there's some people out there that are worried about your phone battery. Is it at least hooked up to a charging cable?
No.
Oh Lord.
This is
we might have Drew for a few minutes.
We should be.
No,
we should be good.
It's all
if
good.
If it cuts out instantly, then we all know what happened.
We know what happened, sure. So Drew from Mean Arms, if you guys aren't familiar with Mean Arms, I want to give Drew a few minutes here and say, tell us about yourself, but also I'm going to give you a few minutes, kind of talk about Mean Arms a little bit as well.
Yeah, cool. So in fact, I'll throw this back at you. Ghost Tactical here. This was the first podcast we ever did. Was it maybe a year and a half ago now? So you're the one who kind of brought us into this. So
I'm sorry. But
it's fun being able to. You met us at SHOT Show. I want to say it was 2019. I may be wrong on that.
2019. I think it was 2019. Yeah.
So because we were on. Because we had our first booth, which was our smaller little 10x10 booth, and then 2020 we actually had, when everyone was having the SHOT Show flu, who didn't know it was actually the Kung flu, or I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but we've been doing a lot. We really have. So the latest and greatest thing that we debuted actually at the Iraq Veteran 8888 Range Day earlier this May was our bearing delay bolt carrier. And I don't know that y'all can see this because I'm pretty far away, but in a nutshell, and I'll give you some pictures actually, so you can post these up for us too. Sure. Essentially what we developed with this latest system over our previous roller delay bolt carrier, and I'll touch on that. We developed a roller delay bolt carrier for 9mm inside of a 5.56 upper receiver. So that way you didn't have to go buy an entire new gun. Everybody's getting tired of that. So the AR-15 is modular. So we played to that tune, except we wanted it to actually be better, right? Not just another run of the mill. Oh, I'm just going to slap my logo on this thing and call it new. So that's not how we fly here at Mean. So, after 2 years of developing the roller delay system, we debuted that at our 2019 SHOT Show. And then, at our 2020 SHOT Show, we debuted that. Went to the end of the line with that, and we pretty much found the same, even though we improved over the general MP5 roller delay system, it still has the same shortcomings, and it just wasn't acceptable to us. So if something's going to be better, it needs to be better than better, right? So this last year and a half, almost 2 years now, we finally went back and said, let's go do that thing we wanted to do that sounded too crazy to do it, was this bearing delay. So essentially we have We have precision ball bearings that act as our locking mechanism. So if you're familiar with the 5.56 bolt carrier, right, you've got that rotating lug in the front that locks to the barrel. We now have that same level of safety with a 9mm system. And again, this bolt carrier fits in an off-the-shelf 5.56 mil-spec receiver. So you're not going to have to buy some super special proprietary upper receiver from us. You're only going to need the bolt carrier and then the barrel, because of course on the barrel you're going to have our barrel extension, and our barrel extension works with our bolt carrier. But other than that, that's it. Everything else is going to be 5.56. So that means you get to keep your lower receiver a full 5.56 lower receiver. So no more buying a new lower, no more new serialized items. So and that specific point right there, not for all the tinfoil hatters out there, right, that, oh, I don't want to have a serial number. Think of the law enforcement aspect, that now we don't have to require any law enforcement agency to go buy a new serialized firearm. They get to just buy an accessory, and now they can swap over their 5.56 platforms to 9mm. Because even though all of us, citizens and plebes out here have a hard time finding 9mm, the government, the state governments and federal governments don't have an issue finding ammo. So they're able to fire 9mm in their indoor ranges. So we're able to fill that gap that is just, they were kind of left in the dust. They were trying to have to only fire 5.56 rifle cartridges in an indoor range. Some places don't even have a range that's rated for 5.56. So they just kind of skip 5.56 training, or they only get like 1 day a year outdoor training, right? So that's where this whole rabbit hole started, was how can we help our law enforcement and military and federal government agencies train indoors in the very specific conditions that they have. And that's what one thing led to another. And that's also how the Endo Mag came out to be. So this little guy, this is what we're most known for. We're the people that developed that magical piece of plastic that you slip inside of a 30-round Gen 2 or Gen 3 5.56 PMag, and now your PMag magically shoots 9mm. So again, with that same concept of you get to keep a 5.56 lower receiver without having to insert like a Glock magazine, magwell adapter, none of that jazz. No Uzi mags or stick mags, just, keeping it simple. Keep it with everybody and their twin cousin has a PMag, right? So like, why would you not go for the PMag? So now imagine your kid, right? I mean, I don't run around fully tacked out with a tactical vest, even though I wish I could. So if you want to help me convince my wife that body armor is an essential product, man, I'm all here for it.
You mean like that thing right there?
Yeah.
Is it essential? I can't help you with that one, brother. I wish I had some like great ID that says it's why it is. Now, for some people it is. For me, now I would say this. You could utilize this. You guys have been so busy recently with all the new products that you could get attacked on your way to and from work. So technically, it is to protect you to going to work. Once people know that you work for me, all bets are off, right? Yeah.
Right. That's why we all drive blacked out, tinted out, tacked out sedans and SUVs with no logos on it. So keep it quiet. Nah, we're loud and proud. So, but yeah,
I may or may not have a blacked out SUV with nothing on it. Just saying, may or may not. Some people that know me.
Or the people who watch your YouTube channel.
Joe says, grab her a plate carrier as well and make it as a couples thing.
You know what you can do? I haven't tried that.
And here's the thing: is saying it's the newest version of the weight vest for when you work out and exercise. It adds about 17 pounds. So it's a weight. It's a workdown vest.
Here we go. There's two. All right. I think I need one more.
You're really into paintball. Really get into paintball or something like that.
That one may not work, but the first two were fantastic. So
okay, well, I'm trying. Clover, you got anything to help a brother out here?
Not particularly, no.
This is a guy who gets a rash. We bring up plate carriers, first of all.
Plate carriers.
He's like,
What?
God, I'm allergic to this stuff.
I'm with his wife. Okay, I'm gonna side with the wife.
Lord.
She may be
No,
watching, so
no, Chase
we'll
is out
have
there
one.
giving you hell. So come on, Drew.
Who?
Chase is out there saying, "Come on, Drew." We were talking earlier about the computer.
I might know who that one is. So.
No, you think? Yeah. So yeah, no, I love the fact that you guys have gone into a couple different avenues. You've got one avenue where with the Endo Mag saying, hey, you can keep your 5.56 lower. This is going to do it. All you got to do is have a new upper. And then you've gone to the flip side with the new BCG is you can keep the actual upper and the lower, just the BCG and barrel for those that want to convert from different calibers. And I think that is pretty cool. I love the idea of trying to make things modular. We already know that the AR-15 platform is a very modular platform, but I think y'all are taking to that next level of not just making it modular for accessories and putting different Picatinny rails and different attachments to it, but let's truly make it a modular platform. And I know that you talked about the law enforcement military side of things, but I think that also helps people like me. People like me that I love CQB training. I love doing that stuff. And that's one of those things where, and I do think that I've gone to my CQB is now right down here. It's a 5.5 inch AR9. And I think that the 9mm for CQB is the way that probably people should go. It's still going to give you enough pump and power to do that, but you don't have to worry as much about over penetration.
Exactly.
It sounds crazy, but people don't take this into effect as well. Is when you're indoors, people don't realize how loud firearms are. Can you imagine a 223 in the living room? And I know it's still gonna be loud, but it's gonna be a hell of a lot easier on the ears than a 223 because most people are not gonna walk around at 2 o'clock in the morning and grab their earmuffs and go walk around the house, locked in with their plate carrier. But yeah. I love the fact that you guys are taking that next step. We talk about all the time. I'll bring Clover in as well. Just jump on in. But we do in the industry, and the community talks about the industry. Gone are the companies that are willing to take risks. The innovation has left the industry. First of all, I don't see that. I don't see that. But you guys have been from day one since you opened your doors. You guys have been innovative as hell. Was that one of the reasons why Mean kind of got going was to bring back innovation? I mean, what was the reason that you guys decided we're not going to be the same old firearm company? We're going to go do everything differently.
So we pretty much have two rules here at Mean. First rule is if we're not having fun doing it, then we're not going to do it. It's as simple as that. So when you take that and now apply what is fun, mostly things that are innovative. That take innovation to come out. So we're not one of those people that tries to use the buzzword innovation, everywhere you go. Because you see bolt carriers on the market that just have a couple different cuts on it to make it look like a zebra, and then they call it performance enhanced bolt carrier, right? And they think that that's innovative. So it's really hard these days to do something that is quote innovative that doesn't just get swallowed up into that pool of things that aren't true to what the description is. So when we hand out things or we sell things or, that's just part of it. But the fun is actually answering people's questions and people's pain points. The Endomag was a pain point. That was multiple law enforcement officers that were talking to us saying, and it was just one of those off the comment things like, man, I really wish there was just some way that we could shoot 9mm in our indoor range so we don't have to go to an outdoor range every year for annual training. And then boom, that's where that rabbit hole started, right? So, and then the other thing we had was, we all make fun of everybody in California, New York, Massachusetts that have all of these fixed magazine laws and whatnot, and they have no way to load their firearm without, following the law like criminals are supposed to do, which is disassemble firearm to reload, right? That was our first flagship product, was the MA loader. So imagine, I don't have one here, my bad. But it's a 21st century stripper clip that goes through the ejection port. The ammo comes out the same hole. We can shove it right back in, right? So that's what started us down that road several years ago. So, and again, it was just innovation that followed a pain point, right? So it's no secret, if you follow pain points, innovation is waiting for you. So you just got to be able to jump on it. And that's what I love about being here is every day something new can happen. And we see things like, for example, this bearing delay. Man, it's some people will look at it and go, man, you spent years developing it. And it's like, you have no idea how much stuff can change on the daily, that, you know, because we have multiple people working on it. Multiple people are finding different avenues to complete the same goal of make it reliable, right? So then we start picking and choosing different pieces that we want from each person's design idea, and we put it all together, and then poof, we have magic. So it really is. It's just fun, you know. Like, everybody here doesn't feel like what's the phrase? You know, everybody here is. We don't have to go to work here. We get to go to work here, right?
Yeah.
So
right.
It's just a totally different mindset of people, and of the things that we try to come out with. So, I mean, and we've got so many more things. I wish I could tell you, but we're only just scratching the surface of the few things we have out here that are released public. So we've got a lot more fun stuff on the way.
So last year, I'm going to ask this real quickly and bring Clover, because I know Clover, Clover actually, I think, met you first and came home that night at SHOT Show and was like, dude, you got to go check this out. And obviously, went out there and all that. So, been around Clover and all that. I'm sure Clover's got some stuff he wants to ask, but I want to ask real quick about 2020, the whole COVID thing. Was that a blessing in disguise or a curse? Or, a lot of companies have mixed emotions on for business reasons, the COVID thing, but how did it affect Mean Arms?
Well, all of our super efficient condensed assembly lines suddenly started to have 6-foot bubbles everywhere. So that was annoying that we would have everything perfectly streamlined, and then poof, we needed to separate every single station. That way everybody was in their proper distance. Everybody was mask gloved, and it slowed down for like the first week till everybody got comfortable with it. And then, dude, it didn't just go back to normal. It kept going. It was going faster and faster. And then the election, right? So now, then obviously every 4 years, this whole industry gets a huge boom, regardless of who's going to win or not. So we go from everyone's afraid of not having firearms and firearms components because of COVID. And then we have an even bigger bump from politics. And then we get over that slump. And now it's just, it just hasn't stopped. It really hasn't. So everything is flying off the shelves faster than we ever imagined. So we've been very fortunate.
How long do you think it'll take for y'all to kind of like get caught up and like be like, whoo, let's take a break right now? I mean, will you ever get back there, you think?
No, we don't. We don't ever go back down to where we were, right? We kind of we hit a plateau. We set ourselves a new plateau, and that's now our new standard of how busy we are.
Right.
So, which is great, hire the people you need to hire to keep moving forward, keep getting bigger. So, and that's what we've been doing.
Yeah, I want to bring Clove in. Clove, I know that you've worked with them a little, some, and are familiar with all their products as well. Do you have any questions that you might think that the viewers out there that are unfamiliar with me might want to ask?
Well, first, I know Drew's been busy with the podcast here, and so I just wanted to point out, I think he's getting a call on the bat phone back there. Looks like.
Yeah, it keeps blinking over there. Yeah, it keeps blinking back there. So maybe
might want to answer that. Commissioner Gordon doesn't like to wait. No, when you were talking about,
what are you talking about? No, there's a light on the machine behind it keeps blinking as he's making fun of. I think the other shoulder.
This one.
Yeah,
it's a super dated reference apparently. So
apparently I know what you're talking about, but he's a little younger than us, Clover. He may not even know who Commissioner Gordon is.
I cannot escape that. I'm the youngest guy on the engineering team by I think 20 years. So I'm If this is the totem pole, I'm here.
Yeah.
And every day it's, oh, you need to watch this movie. Oh, you need to know this reference. And there's like all these names being popped, they're thrown around, and I'm just kind of sitting here, I have no idea. But
I have to assume that you've heard of Batman.
yes, I've heard of Batman.
He
Okay.
hasn't watched the original TV series though.
No, apparently not. So the bat phone and yeah. So before there was a spotlight in the sky for the bat call, there was a bat phone that Commissioner Gordon would call Batman and say, "We need your help." Now they've got this spotlight in the sky. That was the reference to the bat phone. Yeah, that was a reference to the bat phone.
Yeah, it had a big red light.
We had to mansplain the shit out of this. I'm just saying.
Apparently. Oh, actually, you don't have. Now that I think about it, there was a movie. So they had the TV series, and then they had a movie based off of the old TV series. So you could actually go back. You could save yourself having to watch all the old TV series. You could just watch the old Batman movie.
Okay.
Well, and I think
I'm going to hear about this tomorrow at the office. So,
well, you're probably going to if there's people older than you. So,
yeah.
No, my question was with that BCG, and you were talking about the barrel extension. So, yes. What criteria, if somebody's out there, what criteria can you walk them through the process of? Okay, they've got the BCG, they've got the extension from you guys. What kind of barrel do they order? Is that going to have to be taken to a gunsmith to put on? What's the process for that?
So everything. So this is obviously the bolt. This is our the bolt carrier. Sorry, and then this is the barrel extension. So everything you order from us will simply be the bolt carrier and the barrel. So no one will have to put this on themselves. We're not expecting people to be, full gunsmith. So there we go. So keep it nice, easy, simple. Everything else will be standard mil spec 5.56, right? So we'll have three essentially platforms for this, right? So platform number 1 is going to be the first thing we release to get these things out there as fast as we can to get them in people's hands. Man, you would not believe the phones and the emails just going off the hook. So we as of right now, we do not have a pre-order for this because we had a pre-order for the Endomag, and that exploded bigger than we ever imagined. So we learned our lesson from the pre-order of the Endomag, and we're just going to hit this one for the ground running, right? So step 1 is going to be complete upper receiver. That way we just hand it to you, you pop your 2 pins, you get going. And let me add on to that. So with direct blowback 9mm systems, as well as our previous roller delay system, which this was a huge thing we wanted to conquer, was the buffer that you would have to use with everything. So while we were able to decrease the overall required weight of the buffer with the previous generation roller delay system we had, it wasn't as universal as we wanted it. So what I'm saying is you would have to still change out that buffer depending on what barrel length you have, what type of 9mm rounds you're shooting, if you're using suppressors or
was it a 16-inch barrel or a 7-inch barrel? You might have different length, to get to do what the buffer rates,
Exactly. So we really, really wanted to conquer that. So, and with all of these systems, the buffer was still the only true point of adjustment. And once you run up and down the weight and you still have cycling problems, that's it. You're SOL with every other thing on the market, right? So we wanted to have an additional point of adjustment to actually fine tune this stuff, while at the same time, this was the kicker, making it so universal that we could let anybody that has an AR-15 be able to operate this with minimal learning curve, right? So because a lot of people that are building the AR-9s, it's their first AR in general, because of the fact that they see, man, I can shoot rounds that are half the price of 5.56, because of all of their friends telling them, hey, go get an AR-9, right? So when these people are not buying off-the-shelf guns in the AR9 world, there's no standard. You have personally figured that out with that upper, with different lowers, running endomags, running block mags, and everything, right? So that's the most frustrating part for people, and that's the majority of the. It's so funny. The calls and the emails that we get are, "Hey, can you help me get this other AR9 to work? I can't get any help because all the parts are random, and nobody wants to offer any support, right? Because it's not their complete system." Well, we've been doing thousands of combinations of AR components for years now, trying to develop the endomag. So, I mean, I'll toot our own horn on it. We're pretty much the AR9 experts out here because we're making a true universal product in an industry, or in a field of an industry with no standard for AR9s. So everything we've learned from that is what we put into this. So this was the end goal, was just, let's make a bolt carrier that people can just put in their gun and use. So now with the bearing delay bolt carrier system, you don't have to change that buffer weight to be an extended buffer like you do with every other direct blowback 9mm system, right? So you get the most universal one is an H2 buffer, which is still a carbine length buffer for 5.56. You can find those things anywhere for like $18, versus these 50, 60, 70. I've even seen like $150 buffers for AR9. And then it's still an out of the hat guess whether or not that component works for everything else you've put on top of it, right? And everyone's trying to build gun uppers around an endomag, and let that sink in for a second. You know, most of the time people, before the endomag came along, right, people would splurge on a really cool receiver set and then put other components into it. And then if you had certain problems not working with each other, you knew, well, maybe it's this bolt and barrel. I'll take it to a gunsmith and have him check it out. Well, now most of these gunsmiths don't want to touch 9mm, period, because there's too many variables on things. Everybody's bolt carrier is different. Everybody's barrel is different. And everybody makes a different buffer for something that may or may not work for what you're trying to do to it. So with the endomag now, people are buying the mag first. I mean, it's a $30 part, and then they're building $500, $600, $700, $800, even $1,000 plus AR9s around a $30 magazine. That is what really kind of, at least for me, showed the true genius behind that like, hey, it's starting a movement behind a magazine, right? Not everything else. So we wanted to be able to help everybody from, it's their very first build. They have no idea what they're doing except going to the range with a buddy, all the way up to competition. I've been shooting $3,000 Gucci Glock 9mm guns, but now I want to get into the endomag. That way you can use your same kit and everything, all your same mag pouches and stuff that you would train with law enforcement. So all of this stuff just comes together. So now with this guy, again, you with an H2 buffer, man, you can run the majority of everything out there. We couldn't achieve that before with the roller delay because you would have to change out the rollers. Well, who's going to change out the rollers, right? Nobody wants to be disassembling tiny little pieces and stuff. So with this guy, we actually have one big internal piece. You just pull the sucker out, pop the new one in, if you want to be able to fine tune that even further. So if you want to be shooting, for example, on a 4-inch barrel with 100 grain frangible rounds with a suppressor on it, and you want to have 0 recoil, we can accomplish that with just changing out the internal piece, and you get to keep the buffer that you're already using. So you
could probably get negative recoil. Like, I mean, you probably get to the point where there'd be like 0 recoil, like whatsoever.
So funny you say that. So I'm going to use your term negative recoil because we've been trying to find a term for this where it's
That's kind of what I mean. It's the opposite of recoil almost, you know?
Well, so it's like everybody, obviously everyone, they train for, I'm going to not have recoil anticipation. Everybody does it. There's like no 2 ways around it. So when you see people with this, with our system, and you can actually see some videos, I'll send you the one that VSO Gun Channel, fantastic guy. Give him a nice fun plug. And in all transparency, we haven't done anything with him actually. He did a YouTube video back I think it was like May 30th, which was like the week after or the weekend after the Iraq veteran 88 range day. And so far, he has the best footage of the bearing delay bolt carrier in action. And his reaction to it says it all. So what I did was at the range day, I made sure that everybody, or actually everyone else on the firing line, everybody made sure that you first shot a generic off-the-shelf direct blowback 9, right? So you get a baseline, and there was a 16-inch barrel, 6-ounce buffer, the most common of the common parts. So they shoot that, and they go, okay, yeah, it feels like a 9mm AR, nothing big. And then they would shoot this, and we would tell them that, hey, we're shooting now 124 grain plus P plus gold dot hollow points with an H2 buffer. And that's only, what was that, like 3.8 ounces, I think, versus a 6 or 6.5 ounce buffer in the direct blowback system. And you see them, they crunch up on it and then pew.
They're getting shoulder. Hey, we're bracing, baby. Let's do this.
And then you see their face. They go bang. Almost everybody would go bang, and they would put the gun down. They would look over at me and just have this like childish grin on their face. And I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to come up with any like gimmicky sales tactics. I didn't have to blow smoke up everybody's.
Yeah.
I just said, here you go. Here's test sample A. This is what everybody typically shoots. Here's our product. Go. And that's what you're going to see when more and more of these videos are popping up now that people have had time to edit their stuff from the range day event. You see this reaction between people, and some people were calling at first. They were like, there's no way that this is doing what you're doing. You've got to have some special buffer in the system. You must have some special recoil capture, blah, 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 blah. And then we pulled a little H2 thing out, put it in their hand. We're like, oh, that's what you're shooting, bro. So it's amazing. So I got to get your hands on this. I got to get both of y'all's hands on this. So the goal is, and as of right now, we are on track to reaching this goal of shipping in the fall. So nice. I don't have an exact date, of course, of fall, but everything's ready. I mean, everything's ready. We just get like packaging done. We literally just got to get everything packaged up and have enough of an inventory to when we release it, because we're expecting to sell out of this.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Chase out there says, what's the carbon buildup Jan difference between the normal BCG and the bearing delayed?
So how about no? We can just start with that. That was one of the most impressive things to me as an avid firearm shooter over the years, seeing all these different kinds of systems, right? Gas is gas, carbon is carbon. It's going to be there. It's in the equation every single time. Everybody tries to come up with these gimmicks on how to get rid of it. And especially with 9mm systems, those are the dirtiest systems of them all. So there's multiple ways that you can get around it, right? And some people try to just have longer dwell times. Well, now your gun shoots slower, right? People try to just get everything out. People put fancy coatings on everything. We've done, I can't even count how many thousands upon thousands. I mean, I want to say we're at the 11 or 12,000 round testing mark on like OG #1 bolt carrier. And it has no coating on it. We haven't, because we're trying to see when it fails under its normal conditions, right? Because if it's going to fail at raw steel, it's going to fail anyway with a coating. The coating isn't going to make it harder or make it strong. Well, I mean, let me rephrase that. The coating is not going to save a flaw based on the material, right? So,
and eventually the coating's going to be gone anyway. So, yeah.
Exactly. So, and we went down the rabbit hole of coatings. We've tried every coating. There were coatings that I hadn't even heard of, let alone being used in the firearm industry. So we've tried it all. So these obviously will come coated. We're not going to send out raw steel parts, but just to like prove the fact that we don't have carbon buildup issues after thousands upon thousands of rounds on a non-coated steel part. And again, a clean gun is a happy gun. So it's, as long as you keep it lubed, as with every AR, these things run nonstop. After I would, obviously in our manual, we're going to have a more specific time on, say, hey, at the 2,500 round mark or at the 5,000 round mark, you need to perform these levels of maintenance on cleaning out the barrel extension, right? Because who cleans out a barrel extension on an AR-15? Nobody. So until you get to a certain point where that fancy old forward assist button that people love to hit but not actually identify what the malfunction is, we want to help people keep their gun clean before you resort to that button.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it really does. Man, these things are super clean. And the way that the ball bearing locking system works, it doesn't get caught up with the gunk and all of the carbon buildup. So the carbon buildup isn't going to cause it to not lock up as it does with some other systems where you just have a full-on seize, right? So we've avoided all of that after all of our testing, where other designs of other systems have completely failed well early in the early stages of it. We haven't hit that yet. So we really, as of right now, we don't know how far these things will go because they haven't stopped yet. Which is a great thing.
11,000 right now. 11,000 and going
on one of them. Right?
On one,
we have this is just the one I have in my hand that I know what the count is. The bunch of the others that are all in the range still. I mean, whatever the logs say is what they're all at. So
there's no telling. Warsaw Patriot out there says, have you worked with piston-driven AR systems over direct gas impingement, and what you say is better?
Oh, I hate these questions.
I know, but you're an engineer. From an engineer side, what would you prefer?
Well, so this is where, if you take away my bias, right? Yeah. I don't care what the operating system is, as long as two things happen. One, it fires every single time when I want it to, and my hand doesn't melt. So there goes piston ARs for me. I haven't found a piston AR that doesn't heat up the handguard ridiculous to ridiculous. I shouldn't have to wear a glove after a few dozen mag. I just shouldn't, right? But that's me. There are fantastic piston systems out there. I would be lying if I said Patriot Ordnance Firearms or POF makes fantastic piston systems. I love their systems. Everybody that I know has one, so they're great systems. They just have a specific niche in mind. So of course those are going to stay cleaner than a DI, but at the expense of carry a glove in your back pocket.
No, I hear you.
And then with DI, it's the same thing. Now the other thing is I kind of like to throw this at people that are like super piston oriented, because like a few of my buddies are super piston only guys, and I said, when have you ever had a gas tube fail? Have you ever? No. And if it does fail, it's a $10 part, right?
Yeah, not directly failed. Yeah, not failed directly because of the gas tube. No, not at all.
Right, and it's just
you can have
obviously you don't
overgassing and all of that. That's a whole different issue. But the actual part, no, I've never had that fail.
Right now, and then when you say overgassing, when some people say overgassing, other people hear like, what's the term I'm looking for? Like, positive or increased reliability, right? Because if you're not getting enough gas and now your bolt is on that cusp of maybe not picking up the next round because it didn't travel back far enough. I mean, those are your competition guns though, right? So that's why you don't see people running, and then you don't see police officers and military running around with competition guns that are super precise and finicky, right? So the beauty of the piston systems out there is the ability to tune them versus a DI. You're pretty much stuck with what you got with a DI. Yes, there are some products out there, but that you can use to help tune it. But the easiest way to have a tunable gas system, of course, is a piston. So it really just depends on what you're looking for, and that's how I help. Not necessarily our customers. We actually don't really have many people calling us asking us about piston systems. Because obviously we're in the AR9 market for the majority of our product line, which there are no gas tubes on our system or on AR9 systems. So now this is where I'm going to blow your mind, hopefully. So
dude,
what would you say? So with this ball bearing, with our bearing delay bolt carrier system, 9mm is only the beginning, right? It would be stupid for us not to make one of these at a 9, to work with endomags. So that's box checked, right? So the other things we're developing right now is multiple calibers, both rifle and pistol calibers. So the next thing with this is, lo and behold, 5.56 or 223.556 with the bearing delay system. Now imagine us being able to do this without the need of a gas tube on your barrel.
Okay.
We can now, so now you don't have a gas tube at all. So it's going to have the cleanliness aspect of a piston system. Of course, it's going to be dirty regardless. But I'm sorry, not the cleanliness of a. It's going to be dirty regardless. Sorry. You're going to have the same concept of no gas coming all the way down the thing up into your eyes and your nose and all that jazz. But that also means we don't have to put a gas port hole in our barrels, which is the weak spot on all barrels. So if we don't have a gas port hole in our barrel because we don't need a gas tube because we're using our bearing delay system, that means we can lifetime warranty our barrels, our chrome line barrels, which is what we're already planning to do with the 9mm system. I don't know of anyone else that lifetime warranties a chrome lined 9mm barrel, right? So now take that and add it to 5.56, 308, 300 blackout, 6.5 cream. Just let your brain go of all the different calibers out there that, with this capability, we won't need gas tubes for rifle calibers.
Interesting. You think 300 blackout would be an interesting because they already could utilize the same magazines to begin with.
Yep.
Interesting concept. Now G23 says when is 10mm coming out?
With this, it's all on the same line. So with our pistol calibers, we're also going to be having, of course, 9 is king, everybody. So until 9 gets dethroned by another caliber.
Did you hear that, people? 9 is king. That came from.
I love 10mm. That's probably. I've seen more people hunting like big game that I'm too afraid to go hunt with a 10mm pistol than I have rifles, right? If you're in a helicopter with an AR-15, but then you also see the same guy on the ground with a 10mm Glock hunting the same boar, that puts confidence in me and the caliber, right? If you're confident enough to do that. So of course, 10mm coming. That's going to be one of the very next rounds that we're going to have, or next calibers we're going to have with the bearing delay system. And of course, with every one of these, there will be an accompanying endomag. We're going to try to make as many calibers fit in endomags as possible. That way, we don't nickel and dime people. When you look at our website, we have a very few products because they're so versatile, right? So if we can make multiple calibers fit in different size endomags, we'll make it happen. But since all these calibers are crazy different sizes, if there's a 10mm bearing delay upper, there's probably going to be a 10mm endomag that'll go with it. And by the way, when you buy these complete uppers or you buy the bolt barrel bundle, which is going to be the other thing we're going to offer on top of complete firearms with our symmetrical lowers and stuff, they're going to come with magazines. There's no point in selling you a gun or a gun part that doesn't come with another gun part to make it function. So you don't have to worry about picking out the right mags because the mags are come with it.
Some companies might miss that boat. Just saying. No. Clove, you got anything you want to bring up right now?
No, I'm sitting over here listening.
Okay. So I think Rich might have stepped aside when you first came on because this question you kind of already answered a bit. If you don't mind maybe going back, he said, so mainly do.
Oh, no. You there?
Can you hear me?
Okay, there we go. We're back.
Okay. Rich, I think he might have been, when you first came on, he might have stepped aside, but he wants to know how your bearing system compares to the roller delay blowback from the MP5. I know you touched on that in the beginning, but maybe can you
no worries.
Real quick?
And this thing's brand new, so it's obviously it's a phrase, and we're very happy to coin the term bearing delay system. So with your MP5 and the rollers, right? That's where our head was a few years ago when we embarked on having a roller delay 9mm caliber bolt carrier, but that is a 5.56 bolt carrier. That way you don't have to change anything. So we accomplished it. We did it. We met most of our goals, but what we wanted was the longevity to be further than what roller delay already was, right? At that point, because at that point you're just making an MP5. So and we don't settle for, again, doing the same thing or meeting the same goals as other things. It's not at that point, why, right? So with the roller delay system, one of the things that you have is inside of that roller delay, you have these like wedge pieces. I believe HK calls them locking pieces, and they're all different angles. And if you read anything about these, especially when you get to the rifle caliber roller delay systems from HK, they were very, very picky as to not only what caliber, but what type of round you're shooting. You have a very specific accompanying locking piece that you have to change. And now you're getting into the weeds of, well, with this round, at this barrel, at this suppressor, I need this locking piece. But then when you change one item, now you got to find another locking piece to change out. So that aspect did not go away, even though it was, with 9mm being, of course, the system was pretty much started off of. The 9mm was more versatile with each locking piece. But when you look at every HK 9mm HK with a roller delay, you will still see several different locking piece angles that you pretty much have to find, right? And now you're scouring forums trying to figure out, well, what did this guy do? It may work for me. So we wanted to offer something that was as reliable, at the minimum, as reliable as a roller delay system. However, we wanted it to excel in other places. One of those things, again, was longevity of the parts. Those rollers do wear out. That is something that a lot of people who have MP5s know of this. Obviously, it's after, however many X thousands of rounds, but you still have to replace those as they wear out, along with your barrel extension. And the barrel extensions are welded into the gun. So you're hosed, right? You can't change anything out to replace something when it does wear out. So with our system, again, everything's going to be lifetime warranty. So if you manage to wear it out, you'll probably win an award, first off. And second off, we'll take care of you. We'll replace anything we need to make it better, make it better, and just, stick to our word when we say we stand behind our stuff. So now, again, take that buffer system with an AR9, right? So with an MP5, you're stuck with the system that you have, right? You can't go easily start changing out barrel lengths with the weight that's in those carriers. Those carriers have a fixed weight. They have the buffer. It was really cool when you look into them. The buffer system is kind of designed into the bolt carrier of the MP5. It's a fixed weight. There is no changing it. So you gotta go find a different bolt carrier now. So now you're fighting locking pieces, you're fighting bolt carrier weights, you're fighting springs on top of everything else you're trying to make work together with a barrel extension that's welded in there from however many decades ago that you can't get out. Right? You see how messy this is getting just trying to explain and I'm not trying to shoot down the MP5. It's a fantastic firearm. I mean, it earned its reputation, right? Yeah. So, but as with
I love the MP5, although I don't understand how it completely works. I don't need to know how it works necessarily. I just need to know that it goes bang. That's why I love the MP5, because it goes bang.
So the biggest thing that I don't like about the MP5, and it's because I've been spoiled with it with the AR-15, is last round bull hold open. You don't have that with an MP5. So instant, +1. If this is equivalent, if we start on equal ground with a roller delay MP5 with our bearing delay 9mm bolt carrier system for the 5.56 platform, the reliability is there. Ours has a longer longevity of part and component life because of the way that we've designed this to function, as well as we have the customization, the tunability of this versus the MP5 system. You're pretty much you're stuck with a fixed weight. If we have to pin weights for whatever caliber, this is completely open. We can add different weights to it down the road. If some specific crazy, rifle caliber bullet needs this to really be weighed down, we can do that. But we don't, because all of our delay does not require on the weight of the bolt carrier. Everybody else requires on the weight to slow down the action. our delay happens because of our bearing delay system. So that's another big difference is now you have the bearing delay tuning aspect and you have the buffer tuning aspect. So the at that point, that's where we pretty much leave the roller delay system in the dust. And honestly, that's what we did with our own system. We shelved it. I loved it. We spent years working on it. It was amazing. It was super reliable. However, we found a better way to go about it. And at that point, why would you stick with something that you know could be better? And that's where bearing delay popped in.
Absolutely. Before we go, an Endomag, Delray says, salute, Ghost Tactical Overtech. Thank you, Drew, from Mean Arms. Delray Dan is a good dude. Kind of joined the dark side a couple of months ago. It's nice to have him back. Before I'm going to give you about a minute or so. Use a hashtag out there. Hashtag Mean Arms. Hashtag Mean Arms. That's all you got to do. That is literally all you have to do to win. You don't have to answer a fancy trivia question. It's going to do a random pick of the people that use the hashtag Mean Arms. So what I'm going to do is go down here to screen share. This right here. And so, all right. So we're going to go ahead and draw. Now, if I win, obviously we're going to do a redraw. Now, you got to be present to win. You got to be present to win. So if you do win, then you got to make sure that you're here and you say hello. So let's see who is out there. And G23. I'm pretty sure that G23 has been out in the chat most of the time. I'm hoping he's still out there. G23, just say anything. Just say anything, and lets you know that you're going to win an Endomag. Now, I guess I should say you're going to. There he is. He's out there. Make sure.
Hey, if you when you get this Endomag, man, if you have any trouble at all, or even just any questions, right? So now let's say this is your first AR9 or it's your 50th AR9. Send us an email. Just email us support@meanarms.com and just ask for any kind of help that you need. One of us will pick up the email. No one here is above themselves to answer an email. I answer a lot of emails, especially when they get really technical. So if you need any support at all picking out parts, you're running into some kind of interference issue that's probably not the magazine, we're right here ready to go.
So this is no joke, and I can attest to he's not above answering idiotic questions. I had an AR9 that I was working with, and I was having some weird issues with double taps. Just weird out of the blue. It started after about 200 or 300 rounds, and it's like 9 o'clock my time, which means it's like 10 o'clock his time on a Sunday night. I sent him a text, and I said, I'm thinking, who's like a really good engineer that might know this shit? And I sent a text said, you up? He said, yep. So I call and he spends like 45 minutes going through different possible things. So ironically, what I did is I hooked up the upper of the AR9 to the digi trigger lower that I had, ran the Endomag, worked flawlessly. So at that point, I kind of troubleshooted enough to know it's something in the lower. Ended up being something in the trigger and different things. Changed out a trigger. It was good to go. But yeah, I can tell you that.
That's right. It was the disconnector.
It was a disconnect. Yeah. But I can tell you this right now is he does know his stuff. I'm not going to give you guys his cell number because that ain't going to happen. But I can tell you that. Right. But I can tell you that he knows what he's talking about. So if you do get Drew when he answers the email, he's going to be able to help you. He is an engineer. He's not one of those like train conductor engineers. He's like a legit engineer. Matter of fact, you started your own engineering podcast, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I keep that separate from work, obviously for obvious reasons. But yeah, so with everything here, the owners were they kind of they wanted to be in this podcast scene, especially when you reached out to us and said, "Hey, let's have a podcast," and we said yes, and then we all looked at each other and we all went, none of us know anything about podcasts.
Usually
we know we can. So we all just got into it. So my bosses were very nice enough to let me go as deep into this as I could, and I had so many things happening on like we were saying before, just on the side that I 9 to 5 I answer firearms questions and develop firearms and systems and just freedom solving solutions, right, for every American here. And then I go home and I'm also helping all of my friends find other jobs. They're coming out of college. That we all went to engineering school together, and they're trying to find things, or they're trying to find a business, an engineering firm to do business with, right? So that's where that avenue went. So and we actually have a lot. We're in the middle of finishing up the Mean Arms film studio here. Right now, I'm in front of one of our machines, right? And that's one of the things we're kind of proud of, is like, we want to show everybody that, yes, we make our own stuff, which is hard to find these days, right? But, which is because of the studio that we're finishing up. Like there's no floors in there right now. It's all just bare concrete. So all the walls are torn down and everything. So we're rearranging everything to have a studio with a shooting range in it. So so Mean Arms is going to be getting a lot more in depth with podcasting, YouTube tutorials and whatnot.
So just say, when you're ready to open up the studio, let me know. Might fly over and maybe want to come see that bad boy. That'd be kind of cool. Real quick, $2 in the chat. Thanks to Armin Ain out there. He says best crayon flavor. Everyone knows it's grape. Everyone knows that the grape crayons are the best. So I mean, come on, you know better than that. Ask me that. Now G23 out there, he does say, does that mean I have to get an AR9? Yes, it does.
Well, hang on. So
well, possibly no. Now we could add some different things, and go ahead.
If you have an AR-15, you don't have to buy a new gun. So no, you don't have to buy a new gun. You get to just repurpose your 5.56 lower. So
is a G23 in like a less than free state of some sort?
Well, that might be. That's right. I think they allow 30-round mags.
Well, so here we go. Boom! I love this. I love it when y'all accidentally field me questions here.
About that.
So if you are stuck in a communist era, a non-free state, and you have a magazine limit, the Endomag comes preset at 10 rounds. So for everybody in California and New York that have to have a 10-round magazine, we actually offer a restricted state Endomag. So G20, he's the one who just won the Endomag, right?
Yeah, he's in Oregon.
Oh, okay. All right. So
he
doesn't need to worry about it.
Yeah. But I'll tell you this, that is a cool thing is when I got my first Endomag, I'm not very smart. I am not an engineer. I do eat crayons for dinner. So the fact that I was able to figure out how to install that into a PMag in about 20 seconds is awesome. And by the way, if you need help inside the packaging, they give you a YouTube video that you could probably watch and learn it just as very easily. So if I can install it in less than 30 seconds, anyone can install it in less than 30 seconds. So the
great. Installation is super easy. I'm glad you brought up the YouTube tutorial. So for anybody that is out there that is thinking about getting an Endomag, hopefully we changed your mind and now you're on team Mean Arms here. Go watch that tutorial video and you'll see, and I'm actually the guy in the video. I help you guys walk through step by step how to
There's a link to their YouTube channel. It's right there. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. The process, we call it the break-in procedure. The Endomag itself, what we had originally designed it was the little ejector on it. And so this is another thing that people will kind of point out to it. And I love being able to, judo the words back at them. They're like, oh, it's made out of plastic. How reliable is it? The plastic is able to ebb and flow into the channel that it needs to be. Whereas a piece of steel on steel, we have a bad day, right? So the break-in procedure, all it does is first off make sure that the AR9 components, specifically like the bolt carrier that you choose, can clear a PMAG. Some of these bolt carriers cannot out there. Again, there's no standard. There is no way to tell what company's bolt carrier is current. It's difficult. We tried to have a list years ago when we first developed the Endomag, and we've accumulated bolt carriers over the years now, and we have some bolt carriers that are 5 completely different bolts, all under the exact same logo and SKU number. So at that point, man, there's no telling. It's a guess. So that's what the step 1 does, is make sure that can that bolt carrier actually clear over a PMAG. If your bolt carrier stops on the PMAG and it won't go all the way home, do not use that bolt carrier, right? You're going to have a bad day. And then the second step is, once you do determine it is functional with PMAGs, now you go through to actually make sure that that ejector is in the right place that it needs to be. And if it's not, the bolt carrier will take away little shaves of material to make it fit where it needs to. So you're
exactly
form fitting the Endomag to whatever random bolt carrier you pick, right? So arguably, if you could take like your thumbnail and like clip it into the shape that we need and stick your thumb up in the gun and fire it, you could eject the shell very easily. There's very, very little force coming on that on the actual ejection of the shell. So the plastic does not wear out. So, and then people are like, well, it's still made out of plastic. So is your Glock 19. So
touche. Yeah, like I said, I've run it, no problems whatsoever. And and I think
and if you
that
do manage
is
to break it because you didn't read the instructions, or you ran 20,000 rounds through it and it finally failed, just email us. We lifetime warranty all of our products. So we'll warranty it for, that means you, and at that point also, I'd like to see something. If something does fail, you send us the Endomag that failed, because we can learn from it. If something genuinely is wrong with it, and most of the time it's not. Most of the time it's people who don't read the instructions. They take it out of the box, they put it in the PMAG, they load it full of ammo, go to the range, and oh no, it stopped. What happened? And then they try to just, hammer the problem. So, and then Endomags number 2 and 3 work magically because they learned to read the instructions after Endomag number 1. So, but again, if you do, seriously,
hard, bro. Thinking's hard,
So, but yeah, if you do manage to break it in any way, shape, or form, or if it fails all on its own, we're not a blame game company here. We genuinely want to learn from whatever happened to it. And in that process, we'll warranty any Endomag you give us.
Now, just like any others that have gone this, and I don't want you to be specific because you never know, but I can only imagine some of the reasons why the Endomag that you guys have heard from consumers that the Endomag failed. I can only imagine some of the things that people have done and try to blame the part itself.
Yeah, and it is what it is. We try not to really focus on it. It's so funny. For every 10,000 Endomags we have out in the wild, there's one guy who's unhappy because he didn't read the instructions and he's too embarrassed to tell us. Just tell us, hey, it failed. We'll give you a new one. We try to help figure out what happened, so that way when you ultimately do get your replacement Endomag, you don't just repeat the same problem again. It's not us trying to be like, oh, it was you who did it, pay up.
Yeah.
No, we're not. It's a $30 part. We're not in the business of selling a $30 part and breaking and charging you again for it. And because we are an injection molding company, we make everything ourselves. We don't have to go to another supplier and go like shake them down for a new piece, right? Everything's made literally in this building that I'm in right now. So if you have a problem, just reach out, let us know. We want to help. We want you to have a reliable AR9, especially when you're using an Endomag. So there's nothing out there. And when you do see people that have these YouTube videos that are like, oh, it failed, blah, 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 most of the time, I can almost guarantee it, they don't read the instructions until after they have a malfunction, and now the ejector is bent out of place because they've hit it with a hammer 15 times, but didn't show you that on the camera, right? So whenever you see someone with a negative review or a bad YouTube video, some of them have been just pure malicious, right? Because they wanted it to look like it failed.
You're kidding me.
If these things were failing,
people do that on YouTube.
Oh, gee. Now some of them have fantastic commentary, so those ones I will get my laugh out of, but then go, come on, buddy. Some of them will actually email us and say, hey, I did this video and then I realized it was my fault, and we're like, great, here's your new Endomag, and then they go and do it again.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Exactly.
So, but so one last thing, we are seeing a big spike in law enforcement agencies and local police departments that are actually swapping out their 5.56 patrol rifles for 9mm rifles using Endomags. And it's not like not just directly through us. It's other small businesses around the country that are building custom department specific firearms, and they're using Endomags. So that right there should tell you, just like the Glock, right? As soon as the law enforcement agencies adopted it, everyone else followed suit. That's where the Endomag is currently going. A lot of police departments, state agencies, and federal agencies are adopting the Endomag. So you guys are kind of you're on the early swing of the curve here, and this is only just getting started.
Yeah. Now G23 wants to know if it comes with audiobook instructions. So I'm not the smartest crayon or the sharpest crayon on the box, but I can tell you this.
So technically it does.
Watch the YouTube video and just listen to the video. If you don't want to watch it, just listen to the video. It's an audio.
You get to hear
video
my sweet velvety voice and the clicking of a firearm.
Yes, something like that. Clover, you're being damn quiet tonight. Is everything okay with you, bro?
Yeah, I'm waiting on him to talk about all the revolver accessories that he's going to start with.
So is there gonna be like a 50 Smith converted down to a 357 revolver cylinder? Yeah, he just threw up a little bit there, Clovers. You notice that he threw up just a little bit in his mouth.
Yeah, well,
Well, no, I'm trying to figure out how I can make it.
Can I get an Endomag for my 28 gauge over and under, possibly?
So you're gonna have two mags then, if that's okay. You won't be able to see crap, but you'll.
Good Lord.
See, you say this, we make a joke about this, but maybe in 6 months we have a product that comes out of this hilarious conversation. Like this is literally how these things happen.
It's gonna be the Clover bag, isn't it?
I've talked to Drew about this before, right? So, found Mean Arms in the dungeon, 2019, and it was Tandem Cross actually that sent me over there. Otherwise, if it hadn't been for another business that mentioned you guys, I never would have known anything about you. Ghost wouldn't have known anything about you. But I don't even own a PCC. So you had told me then, we had talked about the roller delayed upper and stuff. And so I've been kind of waiting around to make Mean Arms kind of my first PCC. So
well, this fall we'll make that happen.
But you guys got to get on the ball and get some stuff built.
Yeah. That's the great thing about this. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No.
It is. It's balls to the wall here. Every single day from every single person here. So, what I can happily say is that we are building up production. Right? Or we're in full production. We're building up the inventory before we release because, like I said, the Endomag. We greatly underestimated how successful the Endomag was going to be right out of the gate. We sold out of those instantly. On top of the pre-orders that we had more pre-orders come in than we ever imagined. So before the pre-orders were even closed, we were already trying to catch up with the Endomag, right? So otherwise we would have had everything flawless out the gate. So we learned our lesson. We're doing that this time with with this bearing delay system. So again, we will have complete uppers coming out first. So for you, that'll be great, Clover. You'll just be able just to pop 2 pins and go. You're not going to have to swap anything out, new receivers, hand guards, none of that jazz. So, and of course, we'll
that's
walk
kind of
you
what
through
I'm
everything.
looking. I've got many ARs, so that's kind of what I'm looking at least for the first one, instead of an all-out build or an off-the-shelf, especially right now with the way things are going. Inflated prices and things are hard to find. Yeah.
Mandatory Carry says, wait, hold up. What about side loading mags? Now that would be the MA loader.
It's not a magazine.
Well, you're right. It's a skeleton, right?
We actually had to put, because everybody kept calling it a magazine. We actually put on the product.
It's an actual clip. Yeah, from a skeleton clip, right?
So
we really don't know how we want to classify it, because it's a box with multiple holes in it. That's also a clip that's not a magazine, but looks like a magazine. So we default to, it's a 21st century stripper clip. It holds 10 rounds because all the states that have this law have a 10-round magazine limit anyway. So you rock it in the ejection port just like imagine like rocking an AK mag into an AK-47. You would rock this into the ejection port on your AR with the bolt carrier locked to the rear. You just push with your thumb and the thumb ring. And then there's 2 ways we can do this. In the instructions, we say to hold the bolt catch when you remove the mag. That way it doesn't drop the bolt carrier. But for a lot of the competition guys have figured out that you don't have to hold the bolt catch. You can just rip the mag right out of the upper, and it chambers the round for you while you're still on your course. So everybody in California, New York, Massachusetts that are going to these indoor like 2-gun or 3-gun matches or U.S. Arms matches and stuff like that, you guys still get to compete. You're not completely crippled. You're crippled, but
So Mandatory Carry says, no, he wasn't talking about that. He was talking about for Clover's over-under.
Oh, gee.
Well, he got me to thinking, with the side feed.
It's not impossible.
So, like, you move the
engineer.
You move the ejector around, right? You leave a magazine out and make it a bottom eject. It feeds from the side with a mechanism kind of like the mag loader.
So you reverse
the side, but
you could just hold your gun upside down.
We could do that. Kill shot. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, keep the questions coming, guys. I love this. I love communicating with you guys on a forum like this. That way it's not every time it's an email about, hey, I didn't read the instructions. Can you help me? Right. I love this. I love being out. Which by the way, since you two did not go to the Iraq Veteran 88 Range Day, I believe there's another one happening this fall. Hands down, and this is just me. I think that was a better event as far as getting our product out and tested than SHOT, because everybody was able to come up freely, shoot whatever they wanted to shoot, film whatever they wanted to film. There was no red tape, none of that stuff. It was a very, very well done event, and it was, everybody out there was media. Right. So you two better go to the one fall. I believe we're going again.
I told Brandy that I will try this time. Here's the thing, though. It has never interested me. Now, I think from your side of it, the industry side, I could see where a shoot like that would be more beneficial than range day at SHOT Show or whatever.
Oh, we're still doing range day at SHOT Show, but
no, I know that. I'm saying
we haven't had a range day at SHOT Show. I think we have one this year finally, but the last 2 years we haven't been able to. So at SHOT, I mean, it's great. I love meeting everybody, but we spend years developing the stuff, and the only thing I can do is talk about it. Right?
Well,
it's a whole other ballgame when I get to have you come up and shoot it, and have your camera there and go, oh my God, it does exactly what they said it's going to do.
Right.
So I highly recommend y'all go.
Getting that reaction is priceless. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if you ever did, Drew, but you need to look into Antares Alliance. Their range event is the Sunday before the Monday range day for SHOT Show. So, I mean, if you're already out there, it makes sense. And that's a growing event. There's some pretty big brands that's starting to get more traffic. I would, since you're already out there making the trip, you know what I mean? I mean, it's just adding an extra day.
We can talk off air about getting, because Clinton, I can get you to the right person that can do that.
Now, as far as Eric's thing later this year, unfortunately for me, I've got to weigh the ROI and other things, and they've moved USCCA and NRA both to basically around that same time. So that adds another event within like a 1 month window. And
then you get
gotcha.
Yeah.
Are you going to be at NRAM or USCCA? You guys going to go to NRAM at least, maybe?
I actually don't know. I'll definitely be. Yeah, after we're done with this, I'll get all these details on it. The only one I was aware of so far was a shot, of course. And IV again. So, but man, we're ready to go to do any of these events. So.
Well, the reason I say is the NRA show is Labor Day weekend down in Houston.
I'm more than willing to go to Freedom Love in Texas. So.
Damn straight. Okay.
It can't be hotter than Atlanta, so.
So you're talking to a Dallas boy. Most Dallas people do not like Houston, and most Houston people do not like Dallas.
Interesting.
So
but they're like right? They're right next to each other, are they?
No, so they're probably 6 hours. Now you're talking about Dallas and Fort Worth.
That's what it is. Sorry.
Yeah.
Can you tell I haven't been to Texas except for a layover flight?
Right. Yeah. Houston's probably 6 hours roughly from Houston. Yeah, it's what it is. It is what it is. But no, just kidding. No, anytime you're in Texas is a great thing. But yeah, I know that you guys are putting together a lot of stuff. I know you can't talk about a lot of stuff that's coming down the line. But I tell you, the people like Clover and I that have been waiting for some of the stuff that's getting ready to come out this fall, guys, it's going to be really, really awesome. Some of the stuff, people like Clover. I mean, Clover is one of those. He's not the only one that's kind of deciding if they want to get into the PCC game, the AR9 game. There's a lot, and I think someone out there says, I think the AR9s and PCCs are going to be the next big wave in firearms. And if you guys are ready to go with this, you're going to make that transition for some people a lot easier, because like Clover's got a bunch of AR, 15 platform lowers. And now he may not have to go and buy a whole new rifle. He may not have to buy a whole new everything. It's just a couple parts, the BCG and the barrel. And now you've converted, in the Endo mag, and now you've converted your AR-15 into another completely different weapon system, which is awesome. And like you said, if you're able to go to the range, instead of having to take two rifles, you swap out a BCG, swap out a barrel, boom, you're good to go. I mean, it's just, if you're law enforcement out there or whatever, it's going to make things a lot easier. So I'm really excited. I know you guys are excited. And you said this fall.
This fall we're shipping.
So you're in the stage where you're packaging, you're getting all that. And I like the way that you said you're not doing the pre-book, There's a lot of people right now that with a certain company in South Carolina are not real happy with the pre-book and the pre-sales, because they've been waiting over a year and a half for them to get them. So I like the fact that, hey, when it hits the website, you better jump, because they're going to be gone pretty soon. But I like that.
We're gonna trade unhappy emails of people who we had people that waited a week on a pre-order with the Endomag, and they emailed us and said, "Oh, I want my money back," and then everything ships like 3 or 4 days later, right? we're going to be trading those emails for, darn it, I didn't get it in time. So I would rather get these emails, but yeah, we really do. We just want to make everybody happy the first time, right? Now, it will be a new system. We're going to prove it out as much as we can, but like you crayon eating people, you're going to find a way to break something that none of us figured out. So the thing that we learned with our products from the MA loader, whether it was the 223 or the 308 model, the endomags all over the country, anytime there was a problem, everyone comes right back to us and said, hey, I was doing this, this, and this, and it resulted in this. Man, we love that. We love learning from whether it was a mistake completely on our part, or if there was a way we could have made one of the instructions easier to understand, or, oh man, we see how you misconstrued that, right? So we want everybody to know anything we offer, again, lifetime warranty, it does not expire. And that means components and entire systems, right? And that also includes support. You don't have a 30-day support window like other people. So if you have something and 5 years later and it breaks, or you don't know how to install it properly, because and I was the same way up until I finally got out of school and I got a big boy job. It took me, and I'm embarrassed to say it, but it is what it is. It took me over a year to build my first AR. Just finding parts one by one while I could afford them while I was in school. And I finally did it. And of course, at the very end, I have a part that every single part I bought each month, well, that part's no longer made anymore. There's no more support for that part. Great. Right. I got to go buy a new one because for whatever reason, they won't answer their phone. Right. So we don't have any of those issues that is unfortunately typical in this industry, where everybody takes their phone numbers off their website. Nobody returns your emails within a week. And then God forbid you have another brand component on your system, they don't want to touch it. We stand behind what we say. Lifetime warranty, lifetime support. If you break it, we fix it. It's simple. It's very simple to stand behind something when we know we've made it properly. So if you're thinking about an endomag and you don't know, or if you've had one in the past that didn't work out, let us know. We've made, over time, we've made revisions to the endomag to improve it, make it better. And the support calls have absolutely fallen off the cliff compared to what they used to be at day one back in 2018 when
but you also utilize those phone calls to make 2.0 and 3.0
exactly
happen. That's awesome.
Right. We don't know. Again, everything. This is where this is the flaw of of being an engineer. I know exactly how this thing works. I know exactly how it is supposed to work. Therefore, innately, I'm going to operate the system in a way that I know it's going to work. I can, in my head, go, oh, I'm going to make it do something goofy to try to make it fail. And I may get a result, but it's totally different when I get someone like you who's never seen one before, or Clover would even be a better example. Someone who's actually been, for whatever reason, avoiding the AR9, which honestly, you probably made a good choice because now this came out. You'll be able to take this as your first AR9, and it's going to be the most advanced AR9 system on the market, right? Those typically would scare away first-time AR9 builders, right? Now, if we give you something that, hey, it's going to work. It's going to work regardless of what you use, and that was one of the statements that we made with the endomag when we first released it. We thought we had every bolt carrier available on the internet, right? When we released the endomag, and we had, I can't even count how many bolts we had at that time. And then sure enough, the calls start coming in within the first month or two. Hey, it doesn't work with this bolt. Hey, it doesn't work with that bolt. And I'm like, great. I've never even heard of this brand. And that bolt was discontinued 5 years ago. How am I supposed to know that exists? The customers in those instances, man, they would ship us their stuff. And they would be like, here, figure out how to make it work. People would literally send us their complete upper receivers to make a $30 magazine work. Like, that just blows my mind. other weapon systems, man, you have one tiny little spring fail, and you see people throwing away a $2,000 rifle. I'm just like, it blows my mind that we don't have that reaction with the Endomag. People go to the edge of the earth to figure out how to get their system to function around an Endomag.
Now, TJ's out there. You might have met TJ. He's with Gear Report. He was at Eric's shoot. So TJ says, it's a challenge to see if we can break stuff. So this is true. There are people that take trying to break things on purpose seriously because they're trying to figure out how hard they can be on different things and all that. But no,
right. There's certain things that most companies don't even do for these torture tests. Like one of my favorite torture tests, I think it's kind of, and whether people admit to it or not, it's in the back of their head. Military Arms Channel's Gauntlet. I mean, I don't think I ever see a firearm that goes through that in some way or shape or form doesn't fail. And if it fails momentarily, it's still a fail, right? So we leave that craziness level of torture testing to those guys that have it. That's their shtick. But there's some videos out there, man, of people, and it's just like tests that you really don't as an engineer, I would never have thought to perform such torture tests to figure out how it would fail. If I'm not mistaken, we actually reached out to the guy. We ended up setting him a few Endomags because it was so off the wall. He drilled a hole through the Endomag, loaded it with ammo, and then tied a string through the hole, tied it to his trailer hitch on his truck, and drove down the highway and came back. The Endomag still had rounds in it, and it fired, and it worked. I'm just like, I thought I had seen it all with testing back in 2018 when we first released the Endomag, and then something like that pops up, and it happens to work, But obviously, crazy things like that, I can't plan for, and nobody can plan for. But if anything, whether it was, hey, I opened it out of the box and it broke, or hey, I ran it through Military Arms Channel and he did his gauntlet test on your firearm and it failed, whether one end of the spectrum or the other, we like to learn from our mistakes and we like to improve things to give back to you guys. At the end of the day, it's a firearm. You're probably trying to use it to protect yourself. We're no different than you. We just happen to do this for a living, right? We don't protect our own lives with stuff that doesn't work. So if our stuff doesn't work, why would we offer it? So we can really kind of push that off to you guys that if it's on our website, it works. And if it doesn't work right off the bat, let us know. We'll figure out why it's happening. Even if it's 150% you, we will figure out what's happening and how we can avoid it. And if you break it off the bat because you did something stupid, yeah, exactly. If you just go, if that was your goal, we'll fix it.
Right. Gunsnub, our good buddy out there, says next week he's going to start a company called Nice Arms, and he's going to make an adapter to an L223 to be fired from a standard Glock 17 mag. So I'm all for that. Let me see that one. But Nice Arms, I like that. Yeah, that's pretty good. Our good buddy Rod Gates out there says Marines can fuck up an anvil with a rubber mallet. This is true. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I can't. It is what it is. It is what it is. You want something destroyed? We'll take care of it. Not a problem. Not a problem. What I want you to do right now is Clover, do you have anything that you want to bring up or ask real quick?
I think I'm good.
Okay. See, he can't handle tactical shit, man. You have finally figured out a way to get Clover to shut the hell up. Thank you. We all, from the bottom of all of our hearts, thank you. We appreciate it. I think he is frozen, or is it me frozen? Is he frozen to you, Clover?
Yeah, looks that way. Not, he's thinking hard.
He's kind of like I was last week, really thinking hard at that, really thinking hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm hoping he shows back up and unfreezes. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and these are good people. Their products are amazing, but we know them. Clover and I both know them personally. They're good people. I'm gonna put the website out there. For the website, you can get to their YouTube, their Instagram, their Facebook. Go check out all of their products. They have some really amazing products, but they're good people. And like I said, there's a lot of things that I think Clover and I have been fortunate enough to hear about some stuff that might be coming down the line. Just stand by, because Mean Arms, they are in it for the innovation. They truly are. But they're mean, but they're not mean. No, they're Mean Arms, but they're good people. I don't know if that makes sense or not. No, but they are trying to push the envelope, and they're trying to think as a consumer instead of a company trying to sell the next gadget or the next thing that everyone else is selling. But we're going to make it better. Ours is better. They're trying to figure out better ways to make your current weapon systems work better, be more versatile. That's the name of the game. That is truly the name of the game. Like I said, I know that he might be trying to get back. Hell, his phone might have finally died too. That might be the issue. Clover, you got anything you want to bring up before we get out of here? You want to plug your channel? Any kind of projects that you're working on?
Man, not in particular. No, just waiting around to get a laptop to kind of get back in action.
Yeah, it's kind of you don't realize how much you rely on certain things until it's not there, do you?
That is true.
Yeah. My buddy Lance is out there. He said, happy 200. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's 200 episodes. I think there's probably been a couple here and there throughout, but officially this is the number 200. That's kind of crazy. We started this in July? That's about right. We started this in like July or something like that of 2017. So yeah, it's kind of nuts. We've enjoyed it. It's come a long way. I would say it's gotten better, but I don't think it has. It's still the same shitty podcast that we've been doing since day one, but it's our shitty little podcast and we enjoy it. So thanks to Druda coming on. I know that they had some technical issues to start out, but he was able to get on, and it looks like they might be having some technical issues again. Probably his phone's dead, because he hasn't even texted me to figure out what's going on. So I'm pretty sure his phone died, which is great. But go check out Mean Arms. Like I said, I put it's meanarms.com. I put the link out there. It'll be in the description, and you can find all their other social media, including their YouTube page. But you can find all their products and all of that stuff on their website. Really good people, really good products, and all of that. But thanks for watching live. Great questions out there. Great time. If you're watching this in replay or listening on podcast and you have questions for myself or Clover, but especially Mean Arms, and you don't want to contact them for whatever, utilize that comment section below. We'll make sure that Drew and the guys over at Mean get those questions or comments and all that. They are real people. They are not robots. We know them. We've met them many times, and they're good people. But A&A says, what would most people do if cell phones just stopped working? Mass hysteria. No joke. But if you're a content creator and all of your stuff's on a laptop, and it's a whole different ball game. So, but maybe Monday you'll have a new one coming in. So
yeah, it's supposed to be. Yeah.
There you go. Well, guys, thank you again so much for watching. We will see you next week. Talk soon. Semper Fi.